telecommunications background, and Aravind is a very good friend of mine. We have been working for an year or so together on the blockchain part. So he has asked me, why can't you share your knowledge around the telecommunication use cases for blockchain? And I am very happy to come here, meet you all virtually, and sharing my knowledge with respect to blockchain in the area of telecommunications. I have done my post graduation in telecom management, post which I have worked for Subex. Subex is a company. It's a telecommunication product based company, and it offers multiple products across 270 plus telecom operators around the globe. So they have products around revenue assurance. They have products around fraud management, partner settlement. So they cater to different telecom products. So most of the electronics telecommunication engineering graduates will understand the concepts.
So
And also
the
I will
reason
be
is
very,
that
hello.
Hello, any question?
Yes, someone has actually.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Probably it's by mistake.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, sorry for it.
So while I was working with Subex, I had worked on blockchain applications for one of the product that Subex is delivering to the major telecom operators. So that is where I have experienced the world of blockchain in and around telecommunications, where and all the possible use cases and what is its capability to keep this digital revolution to the next level. In fact, we have also approached several colleges and other industry consortiums across the globe to tie up with them and explore multiple other potential use cases, which actually can see whenever we are doing a new technology, it should be on a two main things. Either it should bring new business to the company or it should reduce the cost. So that is where we have explored blockchain on how it can facilitate any of either of these two things. Well, first let me give you a brief of telecommunication today, what it has actually, how it has been transformed today. So you have all you students from different colleges, you have been hearing this word digital transformation, right? Everywhere you hear this digital transformation, digital. So this impact of digitalization is much more in telecommunication, because telecom is the backbone for the communication and the connectivity. Agree with me, right? Without the mobile data or Wi-Fi, or without this communication or the connectivity between this, whether it is a human computer interface or machine to machine, the digitalization is not possible, right? So what has it the impact that it had put upon the telecommunication is, the first thing is unstoppable data explosion. The data is flowing out like anything, right? Had it been a 10 years ago or a 20 years ago, if I say, we are not aware of the data this much, consuming internet services for each and everything. But now we are consuming internet for each and everything. Each and everything, I mean, right from booking a cab, booking a meal, right? Ordering something on e-commerce website like Amazon, everything we are doing from phone. We are switching on mobile data, right? And this has also led to the free voice calling operators. You are all aware, Reliance Jio has disrupted our Indian telecom ecosystem deeply by giving the free voice call. So this has actually a game changer, I say, in the field of telecommunications. Especially nobody has even imagined that this kind of data explosion will happen in the coming years. And also services are being bundled for customers. Imagine a few years back, when you have purchased a smartphone, new smartphone, say these many apps are not there and the data is a bit costlier, right? So when we are using the 2G or initial 3G level networks, during those times we used to pay for data, right? For every MB that we subscribe for monthly packs, we are paying for the data pack separately. Now we are not paying for data pack. It is a complete pack of bundled pack. Here bundle I mean voice, SMS, data, other value added services. These all are bundled together in one particular pack and they are offering to the customers. This kind of customization for particular customers into multiple products is the biggest revolution that has happened in telecom industry. Why? I will tell you. Initially they used to have the revenue coming from voice, revenue coming from SMS, revenue coming. Now there is no I won't say no SMS revenue, but very little SMS revenue. How many of you are using SMS service? I will hardly get responses of one or two if I ask. Everyone is using WhatsApp, right? Or even you are using other messaging services, whatever it is. So this is the revenue shift has happened in the telecommunication sector. If you see the this particular slide, so today especially a telecom operator is not just giving the voice, SMS or data as I told. The phone, the mobile phone that you are carrying, right, is able to do all these things. Correct or not? The payment gateway, yes, you are paying your electricity bills, you are recharging your phone. You are not going to shop like we used to go in good olden days, right? We are recharging our mobile from our phone. We are using Amazon Prime, Netflix and other OTT services from our phone. And we are also using our DTH. All the DTH operators have their designated app now. If I may have to tell you, the advertisements are also going in the same spree. The Tata Sky is encouraging people to use app. Why? Can anyone imagine why Tata Sky is asking people to use app instead of watching the on television? Because using the data will boost the revenue for Tata Sky as well. They have the, so whoever is using Tata Sky on Reliance Jio network or Airtel's network, yeah, so they will have a revenue share between them. For every new subscription that the Tata Sky app is being downloaded and subscribed by a telecom user on the phone, they will generate revenue out of it. So that is the business model which has completely shifted from a traditional TV, media and telecom which are in silos to a completely packaged entertainment. And other vast services, as I told you, you can have the content on your phone, whether it is Savan, JioSaavn, Google Music, Amazon Music, other services as applications from news channel subscription. Initially, we used to get SMS alerts, right? If I am correct, you might have also been subscribed to those SMS alerts in your college days, yeah, right? You are now in engineering college. Maybe if I go back to your intermediate or 10th class period, when you are using feature phones, you used to receive SMS alerts. Like these are the news headlines. Now, everything has become near real time. The moment the news is happening, we are receiving the alert on the phone. So this is the kind of explosion that happened. And along with this explosion, along with this digital disruption, there are also equal challenges. So these challenges needs to be addressed, right? Whenever we are embracing a new technology, of course, definitely there will be challenge. There are always plus and minus in each and everything, whether it is a new technology or a new business or a new machine, whatever we are working, there will always be a plus and minus. So these challenges is something that today telecom operators are struggling. Good. See, Sunil, you are telling all the packages are there in one. Very good. We are actually enjoying a lot of time and we are spending good amount of time in watching YouTube videos free on Jio network. Very good. Now, how Jio is managing this? There are multiple challenges to Jio, especially in managing, because they are not aware of who is using this. The security is the biggest question. If you are uploading a video, if you are downloading a video, how much content are you doing it? Whether are you paying for the correct service? right? So these multiple systems are working in silos even today for majority of the telecom operators. So some of the tier one operators, like big operators across the globe, are now transforming themselves, but still lot of systems are still in silos. So the payments against the statements, right? Again, I'll go by example, students, for you to understand in a better way. Okay, please raise the question if you have anything in between. Example, Sunil has subscribed Netflix. Okay, Sunil has subscribed Netflix with his Airtel account. Good, done. Now I am enjoying Netflix on my mobile with my Airtel number. I have received a OTP and I have confirmed, I have paid it, everything. Okay, now Netflix will say, along with Sunil, Aravind has also subscribed, which I can see. But Airtel will say, no, Aravind is not has not subscribed. I don't know how he has done it. Only Sunil has subscribed the Netflix. So now, in order to track these disputes, right? Because everyone is maintaining their own database. Netflix will have their own database. Airtel will have their own database. Now they are syncing. I will say they are syncing, but it is not in the real time. This is where they are facing trouble when it comes to settlement of disputes, right? They have to go, they have to visualize the records, they have to reconcile the entire sheets. They have to see, okay, Sunil number, when he has subscribed, what is the date, which pack he has, okay, payment has done through net banking, done. So this process is taking a lot of time. In meantime, few other subscribers have subscribed, like many of you here on the call. For example, I am taking example, I have subscribed, but again these are arising new disputes with between Netflix and Airtel. So this is the increase in number of partners. Now I just gave you the example of Airtel and Netflix. Imagine the same kind of dispute happening with Amazon Prime. Imagine the same kind of dispute happening with Zomato or Swiggy, because each and everywhere here they are tying up with telecom operators. You know, Zomato has tied up with Airtel and other telecom operator, because of which we are able to see, because every time the GPS signal is on by the delivery partner and we can see where he is and when he is reaching our house on the Google map. So all these are revenue dealings between these companies. So this kind of dealings, especially, are going for a toss because of the multiple systems working in silos. Let us see how blockchain as a technology can help address these problems which I have detailed. Okay. Now, I have told you that Netflix is complaining about Sunil and Aravind coming on board. Now, even Airtel is also complaining. With blockchain, okay, we are putting the details, especially here the call detail record, CDR, right? Every transaction, as and when it happens, okay, whether I am calling you, you are calling me, everything we are putting on a permissioned blockchain. And it is maintained by all the stakeholders. So Netflix and Airtel will have a near real-time view of every transaction happening, the customer coming. For example, Aravind has shifted his plan from a monthly to quarterly plan. Immediately a new block will be created and both Airtel and Netflix will be alerted that Aravind has changed the plan. This is the payment, this is done, agreed, done. No dispute, no reconciliation, nothing needs more investigation. Either parties can happily relax now. Clear? Point number 2, effective partner management. There will be a lot of SLAs coming into picture here. Okay. The same example I will say, I will take, why to confuse you with multiple. Okay, the same example, Netflix and Airtel, same example. Netflix will say, boss, Airtel, if you give me 1,000 subscriptions from your customers, subscribers, okay, I will give 60% revenue share. This is one kind of agreement. Okay. Now Airtel will say, okay, Okay, fine. Okay, Netflix. Even if you are able to give me, if I give you 200 customers or 2000 subscribers to Netflix, give me a discount on the packages that you are giving to subscriber through my channel. Are you catching my point here? Okay, let me come back. Netflix, if you are subscribing it individually, say it is costing 500. Okay, Airtel will say, boss, Netflix, you give Netflix subscription to Airtel customers only at 400, not 500, with which Airtel will advertise, take Airtel subscription and get Netflix only at 400. Now I am clear, I hope. These kind of SLAs, service level agreements, will be there between multiple partners. I am here taking only the example of Netflix. So all these SLAs
Sorry to
will,
interrupt. You can use chat. So people,
okay.
yeah, people are responding on chat. So you can.
Yes, I can see. Yeah. They are telling yes, Rakesh, you are 100% right. This is similar with the Disney subscription offered by Airtel. Yeah. Thank you so much for all your responses. Yes, now I can see. Thanks, Arvind. Chat box is open.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so this yeah, Monish also told, in this way both of them will get benefited. Absolutely. So both of them will get new subscriptions. Netflix also will get, also Airtel will. So these kind of SLAs will be there between telecom operators and OTT players. These all will be keep on changing. This is not a one time agreement. Okay, today they will say 400. Okay, they will see how many subscribers are coming. They will say, okay, maybe no, yeah, not many subscribers have came, only 100 or 200 has registered. Let's say, okay, Airtel will again negotiate to Netflix. Come on, Netflix, see, only 200 came with 400. Let's give it at 350 at a much discounted price. Let's see if it works out, it will be good. Okay, then they will advertise at 350 and they will say, yes, now we have increased the. Here you have to make a point that 400 is in last month. This month it has changed to 350. Okay, this change in the agreement has to be notified to both the parties. And if we are putting this on a blockchain, everything becomes near real time. No need of updating it in other multiple systems, again notifying to the either of the parties. This kind of hunk that happening between the parties and taking weeks and months of time in settlements, right? This can gradually bring down to hours, I say. Yeah. Meanwhile, only in 24 hours or maybe within hours, we can say near real time, they can settle all these SLAs can be managed. Coming to the third point, strong regulatory compliance mechanism. This is very important, especially in a country like India, where our Aadhaar cards are known to everyone. Our Aadhaar numbers are details in public. We are not bothered much about the privacy, right? We click I agree to all the apps that we download, and we'll use them and we'll uninstall them. We don't know whether our data is how they are using it. But especially in European Union and other countries, they have stringent rules. The data should not go outside their country. These kind of stringent rules, the blockchain technology enables the trust factor. So whether it is Aadhaar card number, whether it is my driving license number, as Monish also told, the social security number, and our personal details, level details, like where I have been graduated, to whatever the extent we require, that can be facilitated with blockchain technology. The identity management is the biggest concern today for telecom operators. Okay, if suppose you know that telecom regulatory authority of India, TRAI, so they impose several fines to telecom operators if they observe any data breach. Okay, for example, my details have been leaked by Jio or Airtel or Vodafone BSNL to a third party, they will be penalized for that. So blockchain will help in maintaining the security and the trust. Clear? Till now, any questions you have with respect to the problems, the telecom industry, and the solutions. If you have any questions, I am happy to answer, and we can go to the next case study else. Clear, sir. Thank you, Gayatri. Any questions you have, or we can move to the roaming management. I will explain you in detail about how roaming works and all. Okay, there is one question from Monish. Is the blockchain implemented in India? Monish, currently no telecom operator in India has publicly announced the working of blockchain, but yes, on the pilot and POC, the proof of concept basis, they are working around the use cases to verify whether this blockchain has the right potential or not. Even from Subex also, we are working with multiple telecom operators, not only India, across the globe, to verify the potential benefits that blockchain can provide, because there are other security and other concerns from the legal side also we need to address. Okay, Manogna is asking, what is the implementation cost of blockchain? Arvind, can you take this?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, Managna, coming to the implementation cost, there is a common, see, first of all, whoever stakeholder, say for example, Sunil has given an example where there is Airtel and Netflix who are using their centralized IT systems to bilaterally communicate every change. Okay. And because the interactions or transactions between two organizations are happening on two different IT systems, okay, there are now what are we trying to do in blockchain? Instead of sharing those details, you are putting up a node, one Airtel and other one with Netflix, and those two nodes or a couple of nodes. See, Netflix have different locations, Airtel have different locations. Okay, so they can maintain a private blockchain infrastructure. Okay, so of course, coming to the cost, any new technology will cost what to say, a little more, but the thing is, with respect to development costs other than human resource cost, there is no additional cost at all, because almost all private blockchain platforms like Hyperledger, Quorum, okay, all these things are free of cost, they are open source. Okay, the only cost involved is your developer cost. That means you need to hire some engineers to develop them, right? So that is one. And second thing, infrastructure cost, of course, because every node will have some configuration, right? So to give you a rough example, if you take a decent node, okay, on cloud, even the blockchain node, private blockchain node, can be deployed on Amazon Web Services. So a typical estimate of a decent node per year is $2,000, $2,000 to $2,500. So that comes around 1,50,000 or so. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Arvind. Thank you. Yeah, that clarifies the question. She also responded. And there is another question, like, are the telecom operators working to implement blockchain in the future? Absolutely, yes. Telefonica is a biggest giant telecom operator in Europe. They are working together with IBM to explore the managing the interconnect calls, right? Uh, Kalyan Venkatesh, I am typing a link, okay, that you can refer. And there is a question from Hari Krishna. We can discuss this offline. That's fine. And so this link gives, yeah, you can refer to that link, and that particular link provides you what actually they are verifying. Not only Telefonica, AT&T, okay, other operators in US, even in fact Reliance Jio is also exploring few of them, multiple use cases in blockchain. Okay, they will not be made public, because if they say something that should there will be anticipations and expectations on what the outcome will be. So once they test it and they gain confidence on it, then they will make it public. So hopefully we will hear something from Reliance Jio or Airtel, I see, in the coming future, near maybe in this year or very early next year, something on the blockchain use cases that they are currently exploring. Right? Okay, fine. So we'll continue with this case study of the roaming management. All of you are aware what roaming is in the telecom operator environment. For example, I am now in Hyderabad. Okay, I am having a Reliance Jio Telangana subscription. I am going to say I move to another country, Dubai. Okay, so now in Dubai, if I have to use the same SIM card, I will be only able to use if and only if Reliance Jio has a roaming agreement with the operator in Dubai. If Reliance Jio is not having any roaming agreement with Dubai operator, I cannot use my roaming card. So my SIM card is not eligible for international roaming in Dubai in that case. This is the scenario of roaming. So here roaming, in this present scenario, what is happening, the example which I gave, Reliance Jio is having multiple agreements, because Reliance Jio will not know when Sunil will travel to Dubai, or any other Ramesh or Aravind or any other, take Reliance Jio subscribers, right? Lakhs and multiple crores of subscribers are there. So these people who will travel where, in which location, they are not aware. So based on the demand and the travel history of the subscriber, they will enter into roaming agreements with different country operators. They will see, oh, okay, majority of my subscribers are moving to Nepal. Majority of my subscribers are traveling to Australia. Then they will enter into a roaming agreement with Australian operator. They will enter into roaming agreement with Nepal operator, like that. Like that, these roaming agreements will be there between different telecom operators. In the present scenario, okay, when I use my Reliance Jio SIM card in Dubai, okay, Reliance Jio will receive the CDR from a third party, okay, from a third party who will be interfacing between Reliance Jio and Dubai operator. Why a third party is required here? Can anyone answer? Why a third party to facilitate the calls? Okay, let me tell you. Trust is one good factor, Swaroop. Yeah, that is right. Other than trust, it is practically not possible for each and every operator to exchange the call records with each other, every operator, right? I am having multiple dealings with, say, more like 10 distributors I have. All of them I can manage. Imagine if I have more than 100 or 200 network. I cannot individually go to each one of the house and give them the bill. And I don't know when more calls will come from each network. In a month, I will have more network from India. In a month, I will have more network from Bangladesh. No more traffic. I say network in the sense more traffic, the calls flowing, right? So this is where the third party, which we call as DCH, data clearing house, they will take all the records from different operators. They will club and they will give it to Reliance Jio. Jio, this is the list of calls that your subscribers have called from South Africa. South Africa operator is issued you this much bill. Okay, you pay him. So this is how they do that. This is the typical process followed today. Okay, what is the risk in this? Yeah, for trust, that is the major risk. They don't know whether actually the customers traveling to South Africa or traveling to other states have actually made those calls or not. This can be eliminated by blockchain. Okay, a decentralized permission blockchain, if we are able to facilitate between Reliance Jio and Dubai, okay, they can eliminate the third party here in between, which we are calling as data clearing house, and seamlessly all the roaming calls can be facilitated on that platform. Yeah, this is the proposed scenario. We have worked on this with respect to Subex. Okay, we have identified a significant impact, especially from the revenue loss and fraud side. Fraud, I say, because example I am giving, I am taking my own example. Okay, I don't want to put fraud on any of you. You are very good customers. Let us say I am a fraudulent customer for the time being. Okay, again, this is example. I am not really a fraud customer. Say I am traveling to Europe, okay, Germany. I traveled to Germany. There I have used Reliance Jio SIM card. Seamlessly I have used. Completely I have used. I have called. I have while returning from there, I have removed that SIM card and I have thrown it out. And I don't know what happened. This is the fraud, high usage fraud they call. In order to eliminate this high usage fraud, blockchain plays a very significant role. How? When I am making calls, okay, call after a call, call after a call, call after a call, simultaneously I'm using data, immediately it will alert Reliance Jio. Germany operator will alert Reliance Jio that, boss, Sunil is making a lot of usage. See, in past 2 hours, he has been completely talking on your network. I don't know whether he will be able to pay the bill or not. This is the bill now for now. On the blockchain, they can see. Immediately, if Reliance Jio can send an SMS, or they will inquire that whether Sunil is a genuine or based on his history, everything. All this can be tracked immediately and they can block. They will block. Here, there is a chance of evasion of the risk. There is a chance of avoiding that potential impact. Say, if suppose if they had not blocked Sunil, that means me, I will be using it for more, even more. So they have blocked me in between. No, the loss has reduced. This is the impact. This is the benefit that blockchain is providing in this area for telecommunications. A lot of people are exploring across the globe. Multiple communication operators are trying to figure this out. Yes, there are a lot of POCs and pilots are currently running. The link which I have provided in chat also is actually on the same lines. You can all just go through that link and see how Telefonica in Europe is managing the international calls on blockchain. Okay, if you have any questions, you can write out to me on that lines um, with related to this blockchain as a concept in telecommunications. And this is something I just wanted to share with you all. Right, you all are aware of blockchain. I hope Aravind have given you, yes, very good knowledge on the blockchain concept. So telecom is one such industry where blockchain is been extensively been. I will not say it is currently in use, but definitely in future, it has a phenomenal impact. As a students, what you have to do, you should explore Go language and Java based applications in blockchain, how you have to figure from the telecommunication perspective. You should understand the data on CDR, call detail record. What is the information that is important for me to put on blockchain? That is something which you have to understand. Not all the data in the CDR is required. Okay, we require my name, my number, to whom I am calling, from which destination I am in now, to which destination I am calling, source, that means source and destination. What is the duration of the call? What is the charge? Very important, very, very important. What is the charge that I have to be rated or charged for this call? What is the amount that I should be charged for the data usage, for the SMS, or any other usage for that? So all this information, what is the important data that you should pursue okay, to put on the blockchain. This is something as a developers you must understand. When you get that data, then you can code, you can develop that application, and then you can take it forward. Hope I am clear on the telecommunications and blockchain use case. This is what I just wanted to share with you all. Thank you very much, Arvind, and thank you all for being a wonderful audience and interacting well. Any questions you have?
Yeah.
Any questions?
So guys, you rarely get chance to discuss with industry professionals. So take the opportunity and ask. Like Sunil is very knowledgeable on telecom industry side. So if you have any specific questions or general questions on telecom industry, you can ask.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat. Yes, you can post your questions, students. I am willing to answer any questions related to telecom. If you have any doubts from the industry standpoint, from the blockchain, any questions you can post. For your information, till now I have worked for 27 telecom operators across the globe: Australia, New Zealand, Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Africa, Europe, and America all together. Everywhere, whenever I go, right? Okay, I will not say all 27, but more than 15 operators currently whom I have interacted are doing some or other use case in blockchain. They are, I mean, not doing, exploring. Yes. So that is the in reality that with the information that I have, I can share it with you. More than 15 telecom operators that I have worked out of 27 till now in my 5-year span, right? They are exploring some or other use case in blockchain, whether it is on roaming or international calls or identity management or partner settlements, SLAs or anything. They are exploring these things. Yes, sir. Any questions? Will 5G effects on birds or any small creatures? Hari Krishna, very good question. The radiation part that you are asking. In fact, see, this has to be noted. Nobody is completely have proven that telecommunication signals are actually been directly impacting on the personal effects. Okay, on the bird, the level of the radiation needs to be controlled. The frequency, if that's it, but can we compromise on the speed? No. If I may ask you, Hari Krishna, that are you willing to wait for Ola application to load for 5 minutes on your phone for the sake of birds or small creatures? I am very sure you may be telling the response as yes, but majority of us will have say no. We need that kind of adverse. But now environmental side, telecommunication operators are exploring on a very good friendly level. I must say environment friendly, and it has not proved. Even for that matter, telecom operators towers. I have worked with one of the clients, Indus Towers. Okay, Indus is a tower company. You might have seen telecom towers, right, on top of buildings while you go in train somewhere in the fields. So they will set up towers on top of this big building. With the towers, if I put the towers, nothing will actually affect. There might be some other person died of cancer, okay, but there is no relation with the tower. Somebody will have cooked up the news that because of this tower here, and that is how it has exploded. But in reality, it has not been proved anywhere that telecom tower radiation is actually causing cancer and all this is not real. We have also participated in one of the panel discussion. The leading management professional from Indus Towers has also clarified this. Okay, I have one more question from Monish. Sorry, Rohit. How come Jio able to provide services at low prices compared to other providers? Simple answer: he has money. Yes, he has a good amount of money. Mukesh Ambani bhai is very good. He is actually getting money from other businesses. He is investing in Jio a lot Now he has also started getting money from Jio as well. He started charging from us as well, no, right? So other industries, he is pulling the money, and he has initially put the investment in Jio, because of which, in order to attract the subscribers, he has provided low prices. If I have a good amount of money, say I have some hundreds, multiples of crores, I can give free education, right? Or I can give free cost, what to say, any service, not only education or a telecom service, any service. I can give it at free of cost. Now he is the idea here for Jio is not just telecom. If I have to tell you, Rohit, Jio is having into TV. Jio TV is there. Jio Fiber is launched. Okay, Jio Pay is there. It is a complete ecosystem. That is the reason, in order to attract the customers, he has provided at a low prices. Now he is also charging. Next question, Monish is asking, generally the charge is deducted from the amount recharge. Then how fraud happens? Good question, Monish. The charge is deducted from the amount if you are a prepaid customer, but for the postpaid, okay, it has to be paid after the monthly bill. In the monthly bill, he will be there. So the fraud typically happens when it is on a postpaid basis. Okay, cool. Itihas is asking, any country has started the 5G network with full implementation? Yes, the 5G network is now fully implemented and being explored in South Korea. South SK Telecom, if you can browse and check, South Korea Telecom, there they are doing the 5G implementation. Ericsson is also partnered with multiple telecom operators with whom in Europe they have already started implementing the 5G. Balaji is asking, will any private organization implement public blockchain? If so, will it change that organization's policy? Is it a good choice for that organization business? So it depends on the organization's consent. The kind of the data they will be putting on the blockchain is something they need to take a call. If it is a sensitive information, if they don't want to disclose to other people or even to the third parties, they will put on a private blockchain. If they are okay with that kind of data which is not that sensitive in nature, they can have the private blockchain. Arvind, clarify if I am correct.
Yes, of course. So I think we discussed yesterday.
Okay.
If some data is to be hidden and only some specific data point should be public, then people will be using public permissioned blockchain, where only those nodes who are supposed to maintain node will be restricted, but still the data will be public. But if no data is to be made public, then they can use private permissioned blockchain.
Thank you, Arvind. Okay, Rakesh is asking, how did you learn blockchain? Means journey towards blockchain. Okay, so Rakesh, I have interest on blockchain while I was working on with Subex. Okay, they have set up a blockchain lab in their facility in our Bangalore office. For that, they have asked enthusiast professionals who have interest on blockchain. Then I slowly started exploring the blockchain concepts from the internet available resources. I have also done a small certification on the essential basics of blockchain from IBM. That also have helped me. There is a course by IBM on the blockchain essentials that we need to learn, that the basic properties of blockchain, what it will enable, all these things. Then I started on the brainstorming and other discussions and working on the real use cases on telecommunications. I slowly improved on my blockchain expertise. Currently, if you ask me on the technical front, I'm a little I'm still at the beginner phase. But from the business standpoint and exploring the use cases and the benefits that the impact of the blockchain term, yes, I'm good in that. So this is how I have actually started my journey towards blockchain. Kalyan Venkatesh is asking, using our SIM cards in other countries has no threat to national security. Well, if we are using, there is the threat will not be there if you are a legitimate user. So that is the main use case that we are exploring here. if your SIM card is being used for malicious purpose or any other anti-terrorism, right? Say some terrorist activities or other illegal departments are using our SIM card. Yes, obviously it will be a threat to our national security. But as and when we are legitimate users having our access, that is the reason when we lost our SIM card. Whenever you lose your SIM card or whenever you lost your phone, immediately the government will say block it, block it, block it. You should immediately say to Airtel or Jio, BSNL, whoever the operator, you must block the SIM card. Else it will come on your name. Somebody will use the data, or somebody will send SMS from that to that, and police will catch you, because they have the information with respect to SIM card on your name, right? So that is the security that we are also addressing here with the blockchain. So what happens in that case? As and when you lose the phone, you will submit the request to the telecom operator. He will block your card. Even if usage happens, they can track what is that usage that happened, and based on the location and IMEI as well, they can trace it to some extent. Yes, Rakesh, JioMart. Yes, that is also one of the very much now being used by everyone. And how traveling history known to Jio or others? They have the system in place. So whenever we go to other location and switch on our phone, immediately our SIM card will communicate to the nearest tower. That tower will capture our signals, okay, radiation that on the frequency, and it will check based on our SIM card. If I have to go in technical, I must say it is IMSI, IMSI, which means International Mobile Subscriber Identity. Every SIM card will have this IMSI, International Mobile Subscriber Identity. So whenever you go to other country or other states, when you are traveling, the nearest tower, telecom tower, will capture your IMSI. Based on your IMSI, whether it is Jio or BSNL or any other operator, they will come to know which operator you belong to, which location you belong to. So based on that, they will identify that, okay, a Jio Hyderabad subscriber has visited Nepal. A Jio Hyderabad subscriber has traveled to Delhi, like that. Sir, there is a question from Sairam. We are using YouTube as free, whether they will get benefit from telecom. See, when whatever the advertisement that you are delivering via YouTube, it is all based on the ad sales, the number of hits. For example, to help you understand very easily, recently a movie of okay, Prabhas has been announced, and a poster has been released that is going to start a new movie. And even for that matter, Chiranjeevi's new poster also released on YouTube. Based on the number of hits that they receive, okay, YouTube channel that they have, they will receive money from YouTube, because every time when you click on this YouTube video, you will be watching a 5 seconds or 10-second ad, right? Advertisement. That advertisement provider will pay YouTube for that, because he is using YouTube for advertisement. That company will pay YouTube, and YouTube will pay the production house, the company, the production department of the film, for putting their trailer on YouTube, which is actually giving them a lot of hits and revenue. And telecom will generate revenue based on the usage of the data. That is how the business runs here between different parties. Rakesh is asking.
Yeah, that is not on a revenue sharing basis. It's
yes,
just data.
Correct. This is on a revenue sharing basis.
Okay.
What has the potential to be the game changer in blockchain technology? Very straightforward answer if I have to give you, it is enabling the factor of trust. Okay, and it is a decentralized and distributed ledger, because we have the everyone across the network will have a control of one copy, right? So the fraud can be eliminated and the security can be enabled. Why? If somebody manipulates the data in one of the nodes, it will not allow, the property will not allow, the technology property. So that is the potential that it has. So that is the reason why blockchain has been enabled, and it's been explored across different telecom and also other verticals, whether it is retail, healthcare, supply chain, right?
Sunil,
Okay.
can you give some numbers? The fraud, like you said, roaming fraud costs every telecom player some amount.
So annually, all the multiple telecom operators across the globe, they are 4.78 millions of dollars is been lost annually because of the roaming fraud. There is another fraud which is called IRSF, International Revenue Sharing Fraud. What happens, when I am calling to US, okay, my friend is in USA, after he is there studying or he's doing job there. I'm calling my friend in US. Reliance Jio will hand over the call not directly to US. In between, lot of other operators also will come into picture here. This is called as international interconnect calls. So here, if we are bypassing, there is a lot of revenue share fraud happens. Reliance Jio will pay to this telecom operators in between, because they will carry the call to US and destination. So here also blockchain has a very good potential. So millions of dollars is been lost by telecom operators on this international revenue sharing frauds, IRSF. If you are aware of Wangiri fraud also, that is also very big one. Wangiri is a Japanese term which is called missed call. You will receive a missed call from the number. If you call back to the number, you will get an SMS that 80 rupees balance is deducted, or 120 balance, or your balance is empty, like that, right? That kind of fraud is also telecom operators are fighting a lot. There are a lot of systems actually in place to fight against these, but the only thing is cost, and also the time taken to block, or the time taken to investigate and prevent this fraud is more. With blockchain, they are hoping that yes, it can be caught in near real time, and significantly it will have a good benefit. We need to explore this. No telecom operator has actually till now publicly announced the blocking of these frauds using blockchain, but yes, it has the potential. Sai Gayatri is asking, sir, if we use 5G and blockchain together in future, is the cost will reduce or not? Essentially, it depends on the kind of implementation they are doing, Gayatri, because if the scope is limited only for the identity service, or if the scope is limited only for the roaming area, the cost will be reduced. It also depends on the kind of infrastructure the company is currently having. If they are completely coming with a new infrastructure with 5G towers and all, okay, definitely they will see a very reduction in cost. If not, if they are upgrading their infrastructure now, then a lot of customizations will come into place. They need to make patches, they need to make some fix, some security measures here and there, regulatory cost, all these other costs will also come into picture. And there is a cause, Dinakar is asking, why was BSNL allotted 4G spectrum very late rather than to Jio and Airtel? Well, the 4G spectrum is actually based on the auction, Dinakar. So government will do an auction every 10 years once. So whoever is bidding for the spectrum has to pay for the license, and Jio has actually bought this 4G license way ahead. I must say it is in 2000, very early 2000s only they have purchased this license. Since then they are exploring on Jio, and finally in last 4 years span of time they have launched it full-fledged. That is the reason BSNL, and meanwhile BSNL is still now very good on the 3G network, and still they have got a good amount of customers. Only thing is that they are unable to bear the competition from Jio and other private operators. Okay, Rohit is asking, right now telecom operators are providing SIMs which are already registered. Are there a security issues with it? Right. So Rohit, if you are not using your particular SIM for more than 3 months, okay, telecom operator will send an SMS asking you to recharge. He will send another SMS asking you to activate. Even if you are not responding and if you are not using it even beyond that, then they will block it. They will completely remove your name and every identity from that IMSI, that what I told you, no, international mobile subscriber identity, along with that IMSI and SIM number. It will be given to others. There is no relation with that card now with you, especially except for the phone number, which you know because you have already used it. And for the security issues that you are asking, because of this lack of number series, 10 number series, already crores of people have subscribed, so they have started reusing the existing SIM card which were have actually left unused. Okay. Navya is asking WhatsApp how they will get money when we share forward messages. WhatsApp is purely on a subscription basis, Navya. Subscription here in the sense there is something other app called as WhatsApp for Business. Okay, go to the Play Store and try downloading that. You must have a business account for that, where you will be paying for that. Okay, and all this WhatsApp and the number of consumers. Okay, the number of customers on WhatsApp. Huge number of almost everyone who is carrying a smartphone has WhatsApp in it, right? So this is how they will earn the revenue share from those advertisements or the forward messages that we circulate. So the business account will be there who will pay WhatsApp for forwarding the all these messages, because that is what they will they require, right? If they approach 100 subscribers, at least 10 subscribers will convert. That is what they want. In order to convert 5 to 10 subscribers, they have to approach 100 or 1000. So this is the business model that they are working. This is also on a revenue share basis, purely on revenue share. Sai Venkat is asking, people are publicly misusing their mobile numbers and involving in frauds. Do we have currently good system to track their precise locations? Yes, absolutely, Sai. Yeah, we have the systems in place. There are a lot of fraud management systems and which are enabled through the GPS tracking and IMEI database based location tracking devices. Still there are frauds happening in the network, right? If you have seen a movie of Kamal Hassan and Venkatesh, where Kamal Hassan will be sitting somewhere and he will be using the SIM cards one after other, and based on the tracking that SIM cards, the police department will get to know that he is actually roaming from here and there, but he is just sitting and operating it from the laptop. So this is what currently they are doing, and accordingly the systems are also becoming smart enough to track these kind of malicious activities. Okay, Navya is asking, WhatsApp will get money. We are not paying anything to that. No, we are not paying anything. Right, correct. So we are not paying anything, but WhatsApp will get money from the business account who actually want this message to be forwarded, or who actually wants this particular advertisement to get circulated across these millions of users and other way around. And also, by the way, WhatsApp also will sell our data to other third parties with our consent only. Please make this word with our consent, because while downloading WhatsApp, we have agreed to those terms and conditions. Correct? While downloading WhatsApp, we have agreed that yes, I am willing to share my data, I am willing to share this data, that data. So WhatsApp will perform analytics on our data usage, on our kind of messages, on our kind of usage and other traffic measures, and they will sell it to Uber, they will sell it to Zomato, they will sell it to whoever they have tied up with our consent, that yes, this is what generically, see, this is not that they will directly say that Navya is using WhatsApp for this purpose. They will say 20% of customers in Hyderabad have actually used are using are more using data, more data, especially night 12 to 2 without sleeping. We all do know. So that is some kind of insight that they provide to Reliance, Jio, Airtel, all these things. Boss, your usage is here. This is where your people are spending money, right? Whenever we are searching on internet, God forbid, once we search, you go and search on Google or Flipkart, Amazon, air conditioner or any other search, immediately you will start getting the pop-up message in other sites also. You search for this, there are offers on this. So this is where they earn money. This is how they circulate. When we click on that, they will receive small percentage of share, very small amount, which is a 0.02% or 0.003%, something like that. But when you multiply it with crores of customers who are there online, it will turn up to a huge money spinner. Okay. And how Truecaller knows the service provider and our details. Truecaller is a third party app, Kalyan. So they are completely depending on the mobile subscription data that they have with respect to the communication service providers. It is completely with their consent that they are just, again, the same thing if I have to tell you, it is purely on our consent basis that yes, we are agreeing to share our data, and we are, when we download, we are also giving our data which they are using, and they are displaying it to others as well. So the, vice versa, it is applicable to us as well as to the firm. That is how they are operating. Okay, well, these are all the list of questions till now. I hope I have addressed all of them. If I am missed anything, please, sorry, you can again post it privately to me or in public. I am happy to answer. I have followed one by one right from the beginning. Any more questions?
So I think, thanks, Sunil. Like all the answers, you have taken your time patiently in spite of your busy schedules. Okay. So students, so thank Sunil for being part of this. Okay. So as soon as I invited him, he's kind enough to accept, and he said, "Yeah, definitely, I'll come and share the knowledge with students," because the students are see, we never had, at least I never had much chance to talk to industry leaders or professionals, at least as a part. But I think because of APSSDC or whatever government initiatives, I think today industry academia gap is getting filled. Okay, so probably it's nice that we have Sunil here today. So Sunil, are you looking at the
Yes, yes, I am responding, Aravind. In fact, I am very privileged. I'm very happy, in fact, grateful to you for providing me the opportunity to share my knowledge with a whole bunch of students. All the students on the call today are very generous audience. They have asked very interactively. In fact, I must say, I have been visiting a lot of colleges, especially my alma mater, VIT, and Reva University in Bangalore, and other colleges for guest lectures. Okay, I have not received these many questions. To be very frank, I have not received these many questions. This much of interaction from any of those sessions. I think APSSDC is really wonderful in this initiative by providing the students a very great platform to interact with all the students on a common base. Thank you everyone for your such a patience and well listening audience. I hope I have provided my all the answers. I am getting thank you messages from you all. We are deeply appreciate your patience and kind persuasion. Thank you all. Thank you, Aravind.
Yeah, yeah. So thanks, Sunil. So we have, I shared, so students, like I shared, don't leave, don't leave. So I shared the Google form link. Okay. So click on that, and I have given some time slots for you to choose for the capstone project and hands-on. Okay, so at least if not possible for all, we thought we will segregate all of you into two batches so that we can do hands-on in parallel. At least that is what we planned. And of course I got requests from you regarding the schedules in evening, but late evenings are not possible. So that is why I have put time slots from morning. uh, like you can just click on it. 1 second, so let me show. So Sunil, like you can leave, Sunil. Thank you. So let me share the screen once. So this is the survey I have put. So enter your email ID, name, registered mobile number, and I have two things for you. One, is it okay for you to take long sessions of 3 hours on Sunday for capstone project? That is one thing which I want to know from most of you. And also, which time of this following is suitable for you? Because I understand there are some morning classes started for you. Okay, so that is why at least we are trying to make it little early also for you people to accommodate. Okay, so please fill this form sincerely, because based on the time slots you choose, probably we will make you into batches and we'll give you a capstone project and we can start with hands-on. Okay, so sorry, no afternoon sessions or evening sessions are not possible, because I told you already, right? So let's plan some time here. Let's see, like just fill the feasible time slots. Let's come to some consensus. Let me go through all. Okay. Sir, only on Sundays. See, at least for the projects, probably we'll be doing majority on Sunday, because a project should be completed at a stretch. Okay, because all the concepts should be linked and you should try to do it at a stretch. So that is where on Sundays we'll definitely take 3 hour what to say session. Okay. So please fill the form. Okay, so is there any question we missed to ask Sunil? No, nothing like that. See, again, it is up to you, right? I think you have utilized your time, so that's a good thing. Like you have asked a very wide range of questions. That's nice. Okay, yeah. If you have filled the form, you can leave. So let me search. So some responses are already coming. Okay. Oh, that's great. Almost 97% of responses say they are okay to do. Okay. So guys, remember, if you are choosing one time slot, we may arrange a session in that time slot. Okay, for you. So choose with conscience. And tomorrow you should not say, sir, by mistake I have put that. Okay, don't come up with this, that kind of things. Okay. So if you are choosing something, make sure that you will be available in that time slot. It should not clash with your day-to-day classes. Remember this. Okay, because tomorrow you should not blame because you should not blame APSSDC also. See, they are doing a favor for you people. So you should not blame, sir. APSSDC sessions are there, so that's why I missed classes. So you should not complain to your colleges. Okay, so to avoid that, we are taking this consensus. because we'll have this proof like you consented that you will be available in this time slots. Okay. Sir, when will we get new schedule? Probably I'll announce tomorrow. Probably tomorrow we'll have two more guest speakers. They were busy with some other calls, so that is why they couldn't join. But anyways, I think even if they join, we would have not utilized time of Sunil. So probably tomorrow also we'll have guest talks, two more guest talks. So tomorrow I will announce the new schedule and who can join in what time slot, and then we'll plan accordingly. Okay. Did we have two time slots? No, I'll decide. See, I'll decide based on the majority, because at least what I see here, anytime between 7:30 to 12, around 23% are saying, and 7:30 to 9, 33% are saying. So if I'll club both, which will almost create some 50% or so. Let's see that. Yeah, Venkat, I'm on it. I started creating the reference document. Okay, so I'll share it soon. So before hands-on, I will definitely share. Okay, that's my promise for myself. So majority of the people are saying 7:30 to 9 is okay for them. I think because probably 9:30, 10 things are starting right with your colleges. So probably think wisely and choose your time slot. So the people who have chosen any time between 7:30 to 12, you will be accommodated in this 7:30 to 9 a.m. Okay, because morning if we start with hands-on, I think that's a good thing. Yeah, reference PDF I'll share tomorrow without fail. I'm on it. I have my own works other than this, so I'm unable to accommodate time. So I'll do it. It's been pending from my side long time. So tomorrow without fail I'll finish, because before hands-on I think you should have that. Okay, so 8. Okay, 8 a.m. to 9:30. Okay. So guys who are putting 8 a.m. to 9:30, 9 a.m. to 10:30. Okay. Let's see. If possible, we'll make it. Yeah, we'll club also, because come on here, you should wake up at least half an hour before for your hands-on. You should. Anyways, most of you said you are enjoying the sessions. Then you should wake up for hands-on, because it's with your cooperation I can deploy good developer. See, if I want to do it in 3:30 to 5, I need to look at some junior developer, but I don't want to do that, because we want a good developer who has experience on Ethereum to share knowledge with you. Okay. No, the same link. This will be the same link. Yeah. What is this? 10:30 to 12. Okay. 10:30 to 12. So the people who are saying 10:30 to 12, there are 9 members. So it's okay. See, I'm collecting all the numbers, right? So if there are some small batches, I'll communicate with them and see if I can club them for another batch. Okay. Okay, you can leave once if you have filled. You can do it. Wake up is not problem, sir. Have another class at 7 o'clock. Oh, okay. Okay, Navya, it's okay. Like, let me put in 2 batches. Okay, that will be great. I'll plan based on majority consensus. Okay. So I got only 62 responses, but I think we have how many participants? Oh, okay, 51. Okay, fine, it's okay. Thank you, Sahitya Garu, for hosting. Thank you, guys. Hope you enjoyed the session. Let's catch up tomorrow. at 3:30.
Thank you, Arvind garu.
Yeah.